The arrival of the Titan. The HS Titan drifted through the vast darkness of space, a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. The warship, though labeled as an exploration and defense vessel, was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Nearly 3 kilometers long, its hull gleamed with an imposing mix of reinforced titanium alloy plating and an intricate web of energy shielding. Its twin fusion cores pulsed with contained power, supplying energy to an array of adaptive weapon systems, gravitational stabilizers, and deep space scanners. Admiral Elias Rains stood on the command deck, arms crossed, his weathered face illuminated by the soft glow of holographic displays. The stars stretched endlessly before him, but his focus was locked on a flashing red indicator at the center of the tactical interface. "Report," he commanded, his voice sharp but steady. Lieutenant Mira Vasquez, the ship's chief sensor officer, turned from her console, her expression unreadable. "Sir, we've picked up an unidentified energy signature at the edge of the Gliese 412 system. The readings are unlike anything we've encountered before." Elias narrowed his eyes. Humanity had pushed further into the stars over the last century, meeting a handful of sentient species along the way. Most had been indifferent or cautious, some outright hostile. But this was something different. "Show me," he ordered. The central holographic display shimmered, revealing an intricate web of artificial structures orbiting a dim reddish sun. The formations were unlike any known galactic architecture, massive interconnected pylons radiating pulsating waves of violet energy, forming a ring around a dark, almost ominous-looking celestial body. Mira's fingers danced across the console, enhancing the image. "Sir, these constructs are emitting power levels beyond our top-end theoretical limits. If our readings are correct, they have access to technology far surpassing anything we've developed." Elias exhaled slowly. First contact protocols were drilled into every senior officer's mind. Approach with caution, attempt communication, and above all, avoid confrontation unless provoked. But something about this felt wrong. A galaxy unprepared. In the Erden sector, 1,000 light-years away, Counselor Extal of the Zerithian High Dominion stared at his communicator in horror. The Galactic Concord, a coalition of 47 interstellar species, had just received an urgent transmission from an observation outpost on the fringes of the Gliese 412 system. A new power had entered the field. The humans had arrived. Extal's mandibles clicked nervously as he reread the report. The images attached showed the HS Titan, a monolithic warship, plated in armor thicker than any battleship in the Concord's arsenal. Its weapons bristled with terrifying efficiency, and its energy output rivaled that of an entire planetary defense grid. This is impossible," murmured strategist Valcor, a member of the warlike Dreseth Dominion. His reptilian eyes flickered with uncertainty as he studied the ship's schematics. "They call this an exploration vessel. This is a planetary siege engine disguised as a research ship." The chamber erupted in heated debate. "This is a blatant threat to galactic security," shouted a representative from the delicate Aetherian collective, their shimmering translucent form flickering with agitation. "No species should possess such an unbalanced level of power." "Have they declared war?" asked an elder from the Zerithian dynasty, his deep, resonant voice cutting through the panic. "No." Extal inhaled deeply, trying to regain composure. "But the mere existence of this warship is an act of intimidation." The room fell into uneasy silence. For centuries, the Galactic Concord had controlled the balance of power, ensuring that no one species could dominate the rest. But humans had shattered that balance overnight. And now, they were here. First contact goes sideways. Back aboard the Titan, Elias paced the command deck, eyes locked on the swirling energy anomalies ahead. They had slowed their approach, broadcasting standard diplomatic signals on every known universal frequency. So far, no response. "Sir," Vasquez called, her voice tense. "We're detecting movement, multiple vessels, closing in fast. Elias turned toward the forward viewing panel, watching as dozens of sleek, almost liquid-like ships emerged from the void, their hulls shimmering with an elegance that contrasted sharply with the Titan's brutalist design. Hostile intent? Elias asked. Vasquez hesitated. They're scanning us aggressively, and their energy output just spiked. Elias clenched his jaw. Put up shields. Hold fire. The alien ships moved with impossible precision, adjusting their formations as if responding to an unseen command. The Titan remained motionless, a floating colossus, watching, waiting. Then, without warning, the alien vessels scattered like startled prey. "Sir, they're transmitting something," Vasquez announced. "It's..." She paused, eyes widening. "It's a distress signal." Elias frowned. "They think we're attacking." "No," Vasquez murmured, hands shaking as she translated the alien script. "They think we're unstoppable." The bridge fell silent. Elias exhaled sharply. First contact was already going wrong. Fear of the unknown. In the high orbit of Vortal Prime, homeworld of the Galactic Concord's ruling council, a panicked meeting was underway. "What do we do?" An elder Zirithian rasped, voice trembling. "If these humans are allowed to expand unchecked, they will become a force beyond our ability to control." "War is not an option," another counselor interjected. "Their vessel is a fortress. Our fleets would be decimated before we even reached their homeworld." A grim realization settled over the chamber. The balance of power had shifted. The age-old assumption that no single species could become dominant had been shattered by the arrival of the HS Titan. The Galactic Concord had always dismissed humanity as a minor backwater civilization, incapable of influencing the greater galaxy. They had underestimated them. And now, it might be too late. Understanding through strength. Back on the Titan, Elias made a decision. "Send them everything," he ordered. "Our ship schematics, our history, our failures. Show them why we build like this." Vasquez hesitated. "Sir, they need to understand," Elias said. "We don't build warships because we seek war. We build them because we refuse to be unprepared." As the transmission left the ship, the alien fleet stopped retreating. Moments later, a single text response flashed onto the bridge's holo-display. "You fear space itself more than you fear us." Elias allowed a rare smile. "Not fear," he murmured. "Respect." The fractured galaxy reacts. Ripples of panic across the stars. The transmission from the HS Titan had spread like wildfire across the Galactic Concord. The vast coalition of interstellar species had long believed that no single civilization could surpass the combined might of the Concord's ruling factions. Now, the arrival of a colossus of war, masked as an exploration ship, had shattered that illusion. Across 12 star systems, the ruling empires, merchant guilds, and military factions gathered in secret, trying to determine the full extent of the human threat. Are we truly to believe that they built this vessel for peaceful exploration? Hissed High Strategist Forcan, his reptilian eyes narrowing as he studied the human transmission. The data logs from the Titan showed hundreds of years of human struggle. Solar flares consuming entire space stations, asteroid collisions devastating colonies, cosmic radiation wiping out deep space expeditions. The response: over-engineering, redundancy, and sheer brute survivalism. Humanity had not risen to power through conquest. They had risen through defiance. "They don't fear us," whispered diplomat Xelan, a crystalline envoy of the Aetherian collective. "They fear the void itself." The realization sent chills through the gathered council. The humans were not conquerors. They were survivors. And survivors were often the most dangerous kind of opponent. The Council of Denial. At the Galactic Concord's Grand Assembly, the ruling species debated for days, arguing about what should be done. "This Titan warship is a violation of our interstellar treaties," roared Primarch Civilian, the lion-like ruler of the Valkyrie Dominion. His golden mane bristled with aggression. If they are allowed to expand unchecked, they will set a precedent that destabilizes our very existence. They haven't fired a single shot, countered Elder Vauren of the Solari Consortium, his eyes scanning the human transmission again. Their technology is brutal and excessive, yes, but defensive. They haven't demonstrated hostile intent. Intent changes, Civilian spat. Power breeds ambition. Or responsibility, countered Xelan. Look at their history. They don't seek war. They seek security. Strategist Vorkan slammed a clawed fist on the table. And how do we control them? How do we ensure they don't become a threat in the future? A silence fell over the assembly. Because the truth was simple. Humanity had already become a threat. Not through aggression. Not through war. But simply by existing at their full potential. A galactic betrayal. As the Concord bickered, another force in the galaxy took action. The Drizeth Dominion, a warlike empire that had long resisted Concord rule, saw an opportunity. High Warlord Kaler Drizeth had observed the humans with fascination rather than fear. Their relentless survivalism, their defiance of the void itself, their unyielding resilience. It reminded him of his own ancestors. Humanity was not an enemy to be crushed. They were an ally waiting to be forged. That was why, when the Galactic Concord secretly voted to contain and isolate humanity, Kaler made his own plans. If the Concord wishes to shackle them, he growled to his war council, then we will do the opposite. He gestured to a hologram of the HS Titan, the massive warship floating like a sleeping god in the void. We will send an emissary. His generals tensed. You mean to negotiate? Kaler smiled, baring razor-sharp fangs. No, he said. We mean to warn them. Back on the Titan. Aboard the Titan, Admiral Elias Rains sat in the dim glow of the strategic war room, deep in thought. The transmission they had sent to the alien fleet had done its job. The panic had been immediate. The reactions were mixed. Some species had retreated in terror. Others had sent frantic diplomatic messages, seeking to understand humanity's true intentions. But some had remained silent. And silence, in the void of space, was often the most dangerous response of all. Sir, Lieutenant Mira Vasquez called from the main communications deck. We're receiving an incoming transmission. From the Concord, Elias asked. Mira hesitated. No, this is something else. She patched the signal through. The hologram that materialized before them was not what they expected. A towering, broad-shouldered alien stood before them, clad in ceremonial armor etched with jagged battle scars. His golden eyes gleamed with something that no other alien envoy had yet displayed. Respect. I am High Warlord Kaler Drizeth, the figure rumbled. Leader of the Drizeth Dominion. Humanity, you are not welcome in the Concord's domain. Elias folded his arms, face unreadable. We didn't ask for permission. Kaler chuckled. Good. I had hoped you would say that. A silence settled between them. Then Kaler's expression turned grave. I bring you this warning, human. His voice dropped lower. The *** Galactic Concord has decided your fate in secret. They will not allow you to expand. They fear you. Elias frowned. And what do you want from us? Kaler's grin was slow and sharp. I want to see what happens, he said, when the Concord learns that you fear nothing. Shadows of war. Back at the Concord's core world, the Council had reached a final decision. The Galactic Concord would send an ultimatum to humanity. Dismantle their warships. Submit to Concord authority. Cease further expansion beyond their solar system. Failure to comply. A full-scale blockade and containment. But as they sent their message, they received an unexpected response. A single transmission from the HS Titan. Humanity responds. Elias Rains stood before the hologram, his voice calm, yet unshakably resolute. This galaxy is vast and dangerous. We have no interest in war, nor in conquest. He stepped forward, meeting the unseen eyes of the Concord leaders. But know this, he gestured to the Titan's bulkhead, a ship designed to survive the very worst the cosmos had to offer. We do not bow. We do not break. We do not fear. He paused, then gave the final words that would shake the foundation of the galaxy. If you seek war with humanity. A small smirk, the unbreakable resolve of humanity. The line in the sand. The HS Titan floated silently in the vast, starlit abyss of Gliese 412, a monolithic fortress of steel and defiance, standing alone against the weight of the entire Galactic Concord. On its bridge, Admiral Elias Rains reviewed the ultimatum that had just arrived from the Concord's core world. A simple message, a simple demand. Humanity must surrender its warships, cease expansion, and submit to the rule of the Concord. If not, the consequences will be swift and absolute. Rains exhaled, slowly closing the transmission. Around him, his officers watched in tense silence. Even though the bridge was lined with some of the greatest tactical minds in the fleet, none of them had an answer to the looming threat. They weren't just being threatened with war. They were being threatened with extinction. Commander Mira Vasquez broke the silence. "Sir, the Concord has already begun assembling a containment fleet. Reports show at least 400 warships en route to blockade Sol." Elias tightened his grip on the console. 400 warships. It was an overwhelming show of force, a message that humanity's defiance would not be tolerated, except they had miscalculated. The Titan was not alone. Humanity had never been alone. Rallying the frontier worlds. The Concord had always dismissed humans as insignificant, confined to their single solar system, too far from the galactic core to matter. But humanity had not been idle. Over the last century, they had expanded beyond Sol, establishing colonies on the edges of known space, frontiers that the Concord had deemed too dangerous, too uninhabitable, too unforgiving. They had been wrong. Because where other species saw death, humanity saw a challenge. Where others avoided hardship, humans conquered it. Now those very colonial fleets, forged in the depths of hostile planets and uncharted space, were receiving the call. The message from the Titan echoed across the void. To all Terran colonies and allies, humanity stands at the precipice of war. The Galactic Concord seeks to break us, to force us into submission. We do not seek war, but we will not kneel. We will not break. If you stand with us, then stand now. Across the settled stars, the call to arms spread like wildfire. From the mining colonies of Helios 7, where men and women toiled beneath the crushing gravity of a dead sun, to the oceanic cities of Triton, where humanity had built thriving civilizations beneath the frozen waves, the response was the same. They would fight. Not out of hatred, not for conquest, but for survival. Within hours, the colonies had mobilized, their armored fleets and battle-hardened pilots preparing for war. The Concord believed they had humanity outnumbered, but they had underestimated them. Because humanity had not spent centuries building an empire. They had spent centuries preparing for the unknown. And now, the unknown had come knocking. A war of strategy, not strength. As the Concord's containment fleet approached Sol, their admirals expected the humans to panic, to scatter, to plead for mercy. Instead, they found cold, calculated silence. The Titan had already vanished, its massive form disappearing into the depths of deep space, leaving only a single transmission behind. You do not cage us. You do not control us. We choose where we stand. What followed was unlike any war the Concord had ever fought. Humanity did not meet them head-on. Instead, they disappeared, slipping between nebulae, asteroid belts, and deep space voids, striking from the darkness before vanishing into the unknown. For every Terran warship the Concord destroyed, 2 more emerged from the shadows. For every blockade the Concord established, a Terran fleet would bypass it entirely, slipping past their defenses as if the laws of war did not apply. It was warfare unlike anything the Concord had ever faced, because the Concord had spent centuries fighting conventional wars, wars of grand fleets, planetary bombardments, and open battlefields. Humanity fought in the void itself. Their battlefield was the darkness. Their weapon was their adaptability. And it was working. Within a week, the Concord's supply lines collapsed. Their fleets, unable to track or predict human movements, found themselves being picked apart piece by piece. They had 400 warships, but they were fighting a ghost, the betrayal within the Concord. As the war raged, not all within the Concord agreed with their leaders' decisions. One by one, voices rose in protest. Species that had once dismissed humanity now began questioning the war. The Luminary Collective, a highly advanced race of scholars, saw the truth first. "We have made a mistake," their leader, First Speaker Valen, declared to the Concord's ruling council. "We have feared them, not because of what they have done, but because of what they could become. And now we have forced them to become exactly what we feared." But it was too late. The war was no longer about politics. It was no longer about containment. It was about humanity proving, once and for all, that they would not be controlled. And as the Titan emerged once more, leading a coalition of Terran fleets and defecting Concord worlds, the reality became clear. Humanity had not just survived. They had thrived in the fire. The Titan's last message. On the bridge of the Titan, Elias Reigns watched the battlefield unfold before him. The war was reaching its climax. Their enemies had the numbers. Their enemies had the power. But humanity had the will. He opened the final transmission to the Concord's leaders. "We never asked for this war. We never sought power over the stars. But when you came for us, when you demanded that we kneel, you made one fatal mistake." He leaned forward, his voice a whisper of cold steel. "You assumed we were afraid." A pause. Then the last words the Concord would hear before the final battle began. "Now you will learn the truth. It was never fear. It was respect. And now you will learn why we survived the void." The Titan surged forward, leading the last charge of humanity. And as the stars burned, the galaxy finally understood.